everyone, welcome to QA Secret. In last video, we have already discussed about Playwright architecture and its advantages. So in this video, we'll discuss about the core interfaces in Playwright and different types of browser it supports. So in Playwright, each version need a specific version of browser binaries to operate. So when we will update the Playwright version, we need to update the browser binaries as well. So for this, we need a CLI command to install the latest binaries. So I have already provided the CLI commands in the notes. You can check. So the first command is by default install all the default browsers, but if you want to install a specific browser, you can pass the parameter. So in this second command, I have passed the WebKit browser, so it will only install WebKit. So for more CLI commands, you can check the official documentation. Coming to browser support, Playwright supports Chromium, WebKit, Firefox, Chrome, Edge, and Apple Safari browser. It can also run on emulated tablet and mobile devices. Let's see some examples. Here in this class Chrome browser test, I have written 3 tests where I am performing one login operation using different Chrome browsers. So here in this first test I am using the channel as Chrome. So it will open the Chrome browser which is installed in my PC, and it will perform the login operation in one of the testing site. And if you go to the second test, I am using the Chrome beta version, and I want to perform the same test on that site. So here in the browser type, I have set the channel as Chrome beta, so it will open the Chrome beta version. Similarly, in the third test, I am using the Chromium browser, so it will open the Chromium browser and it will run the same test case. So let's see how it is working. So if you see, now it opens Chrome browser and it perform the login operation. Now it is opening Chrome beta version and it is performing the login operation. Now it opens the Chromium browser and performing the login operation. So now my 3 tests got pass. So it opens different browser. So I can run them again. So now here I have written 4 different class having multiple tests. So in the first test, Chromium browser test, I have written test for Chrome browser where I am setting the channel as Chrome. We have also written one test where we are checking using Chrome beta version, and I have also written one test where we are testing on the Chromium browser. So as MS Edge is also part of Chromium, so we can also set the channel to MS Edge. So this will open the test in the Edge browser. So I have written 4 tests in this Chromium browser test, and we'll see how it is opening different browsers and performing the test. So let's run. So now it is opening the Chrome browser. Now it is opening the Chrome beta version. If you see the icon, now it is opening the Chromium browser, and now it will open the Microsoft Edge browser. It logged in successfully. So now I have tested already using Chrome beta, Chromium, and Edge. Similarly, we can run on Firefox and WebKit. So for Firefox and WebKit, we can only test on the browsers that bundle with the Playwright. We cannot test on the installed Firefox browser and Safari browser. So this is from the official documentation. So I can show that page where it is mentioned. So this is one bug someone raised in the GitHub, that how it is possible to set the path in Firefox. And if you see the response, it is mentioned that Playwright can only be used with the Firefox browser that is shipped with Playwright. Please see the official documentation. So if you go to this official documentation, here it is already mentioned. So if you go to the Firefox section, so it is mentioned by default Playwright downloads the browser from Microsoft SDN. Sometimes companies maintain internal proxies. No, here. So here it is mentioned Playwright Firefox version matches the recent Firefox stable build. Playwright doesn't work with the branded version of the Firefox since it is relies on patches. So Playwright doesn't work with branded version of Firefox since it relies on patches. Instead you can test against recent Firefox stable build. So in Firefox and WebKit, it will not open your Safari browser or Firefox browser that is installed in your machine. So it will run the test on the Firefox browser that is packaged with Playwright. So if I go to Firefox test, so here I have written one test using Firefox. So if I run this, see it is opening the Firefox browser that bundled with the Playwright. It's called nightly. So it opened and it is performing the test and it closed. So if you try to use the install browser, it will not allow to run, it will throw error. Similarly, I have written one WebKit test. So here I am using this WebKit method to launch WebKit browser. So let's run this test. So it passed. Similarly, for a tablet emulation, I have written one test where I am testing opening the browser in the emulated environment, for example iPhone 13 Pro. So I have written the test for this, and here I am with the help of browser context, new context options, I am setting the viewport size 390 and 844 and screen size and the device scale factor, and I'm opening the URL and doing the login operation. So if you run this test, so it is opening in iPhone 13 Pro and it got success. So this viewport information and everything also provided by Playwright. So if you go to this documentation, so this is one of the link where you can find the viewport and the device scale factor, and these are the settings we have to enable when we are running in a emulated environment. So this is already, I can share this link in my video description so that you can also use this one. This section will discuss about important interfaces in Playwright. So basically Playwright, browser context, browser and page, these four are the most important interfaces in Playwright for browser automation, and these four interfaces are extending from auto closable interface. So coming to the Playwright interface, this interface provide methods to launch browser instances. So I have already mentioned the important methods inside this interface, and the nested class create option. So if you see the diagram, I have mentioned all the details. So first, when we are writing a program, we have to create the instance of Playwright. So and these methods Chromium, WebKit and Firefox, this will return the instance of browser type, and the launch method, if we call on the browser type, that will return us the browser instance. So once we get the browser instance, from browser instance we can create the instance of browser context. So if you go to the interface called browser interface, so I have already mentioned the different important methods here, and what are the different methods do, so I've already mentioned. So from the browser instance we can create a browser context. So generally browser context provides a way to operate with multiple independent browser sessions. So from one browser context you can create multiple pages. So this is the browser context interface. So I have already mentioned the nested classes and different methods here for our purpose. So you can see this diagram here. Page new page is the method which returns the page instance. Page new page method will return the instance of the page interface, and the page interface basically used to interact with a single tab in a browser. So it contains all the methods uh, which will be helpful to do any operation on the page level on a single browser page. So one browser instance can have multiple pages. So let's discuss more in the by doing a practical example. This program for better understanding about interfaces. So the first line, I am creating an instance of Playwright. So using the create method which will return the instance of Playwright, and in the second line I am creating an instance of browser type using the Chromium method present in the Playwright interface. So there are different methods like Chromium, Firefox and WebKit which will return the object of browser type. So in the second line I'm getting the browser type, and after that my goal is to create the instance of the browser. So there is a launch method inside browser type interface which will launch the browser instance. So using the launch option I'm setting the headless mode to false and setting the channel to Chrome. So by default Playwright opens the browser in headless mode. So to off the headless mode I call this headless method and set it to false, so that the browser will open in headed mode. After that we have to create an instance of browser context using the new context method in the browser instance. So if you click on this new context it will return a browser context object which will give us a new context, and using this browser context object using the new page method we'll get the instance of page. After that using navigate method present in page we can navigate to a particular URL, and here I'm using the locator method where we are passing the selector xpath here for username and password, and using the fill method we are entering the value as admin and password as also admin. So after that I am clicking on the login button. So this is get by role is one type of method where we can use it is one type of locator method. So it will give us a locator object, and we can click on that button, login button, and after that once the login operation is successful I am closing the browser and closing the page as well. So if you run this test, see it opens the browser, login and close. So coming to the nodes, so here I have ordered the interfaces. So first is Playwright. So we have to create the instance of a Playwright. After that we have to create the instance of browser, and after that we have to create the instance of browser context, and after that we have to create the instance of page. That's all for this video. If you have any question please comment in this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.